Welcome to my video series on the heroine's journey and what you need to help you on the heroine's journey. I'm Susanna Liller, and it's time to find your happiness and to prove to you that you are a heroine. So never mind scaring other people on Halloween. I want you to scare yourself. No, you won't need a mask or a costume. You'll need to do something that maybe you regard as scary or some level of scary. The level of scary is different for everybody, so you get to choose. You won't get candy for doing it either. Well, no one will give you candy. Maybe you'll have to go buy it afterwards. What you will get is increased confidence, a sense of, okay, there, I did it. Good for me. A feeling of accomplishment. And maybe a sense of, what else can I do now that I've done that? A feeling of possibility. What is it you've done already that you can look back and say, I started off apprehensive, afraid even. And the more I did it, the easier it was for me. You're witnessing that right now in the moment here for me. Here's my first example of stretching outside of my comfort zone. When I started doing these videos about a year ago, I hated them. I hated doing them. I was anxious about what I was saying, what I remember what I wanted to say, how I looked, and if I were totally honest with you, and I would always want to be, that was probably my main fear. Was I doing it right? Am I even making sense? I dreaded making these videos. I don't dread them now. I don't dread them now. But that's really amazing for me to say that. Fear isn't really present when I do them. Actually, I really enjoy talking to you. So what happened? Why did the fear go away? Well, I just kept doing them, telling myself it didn't have to be perfect. And that's always a big one for me, that I have to do it as perfectly as so-and-so does it. And at some point, I became used to doing them. No more fear of the unknown because I had done it enough. I was comfortable. I had expanded my comfort zone. Here's another example, playing in the band. Here's another example of experiencing fear at first and then through repetition, continuing to do it, plugging along, one step after another. I got to actually enjoying myself as I played chords on the keyboard. Enjoying the whole experience. And if you've played music with others, you know what I mean. It really is joyful. It was a neighborhood band, friends of mine down the street. Come play with us, Susanna. Well, I knew how to play piano from a written score, but I didn't know how to play what they wanted me to play, just chords. I was used to playing with two hands, the right hand playing the melody and the left hand the accompaniment to the melody, reading the notes. In this case, number one, there were no notes. Someone else was playing the melody, not me, some other instrument. This was really different for me, not at all what I expected when they said, come play with us, Susanna, you know how to play the piano. I had to learn what the chord signs meant. A, M, G, C, C, M were all new to me. Then I had to play them and remember, okay, A, M are these three notes, and I would write them down because I would forget. I had to learn, and maybe this was the biggest thing for me, how to play with other instruments. I had never had to do that before. Every week I joined them and I practiced a lot in between, so I wouldn't look like an idiot. And when we practiced together on Fridays, every Friday, that was another thing. Just a big change to my schedule and a big priority. I got better. I also got criticized and I got judged. It was not, believe me, all smooth sailing. I made mistakes, but I kept going, kept playing. I wanted to do better. And lo and behold, surprise, I really had fun. I really had fun. I even started singing. I even wrote a couple songs. This was way out of my bailiwick of just playing piano and reading the notes. And yeah, so another comfort zone expanded. We even played out, performed on a stage. That hugely expanded my comfort zone. If you look at just these two examples, and I could go on and on, because I was fearful of a lot of things when I was young, a lot of things. I was raised under a persistent, from my loving parents, be careful admonition, which translates in a young child's mind as the world is a scary place and you're going to get hurt if you don't be careful. I won't even go into how I became a conflict mediator when my family believed nice people don't argue. As a result, I had always avoided conflict like the plague. Being a mediator threw me into the thick of it. And I learned to love that too. Talk about something that puts you into the present moment. Walk into the middle of a conflict that you're facilitating. At any rate, I've had to overcome fear in a lot of my comfort zone areas. Now, let me be clear. I still have things that scare me, like just about any haunted house set up for Halloween. But I'm so much better at dealing with them and confronting them because I know from practice, from experience, the more I do something, the more I subject myself to what I'm afraid of. The more I stretch myself outside of where I'm comfortable, my comfort zone, the more comfortable I'll get in time. What have I learned? Here's a couple of things. I've learned a lot, and particularly the experience gained is the huge part of this. But I've learned if it's new to you, if you haven't tried it before, there may be some pangs of fear at the start, or more than that, or more than just at the start. Wherever it is, whatever it is you're trying, you can practice and get better at it. In time, you will be more comfortable with whatever it is. And again, you can't compare with other people. For some people, because of their experience and who they are, it will take longer to get comfortable than other people. And yes, there are those people that can have the thought spontaneously and then just go do it and not be afraid at all. And yeah, I'm not one of those people. Most likely it will be well worth your time getting better at whatever it is you've wanted to do. It will help you try other things too. It will give you confidence. The psychologist Amy Butcher writes, doing something scary can inspire exceptional outcomes, just as there seems to be an optimal level of stress for growth and learning. A certain amount of fear can lead to high performance. Fear signals there's something of consequence on the line, a reason to exert effort. We all know on the opposite side of the people that just go jump off the cliff, on the opposite side, there are people who give up immediately when they're trying something new for different reasons, but often they don't want to look stupid. They make a few mistakes and decide this is impossible, and or their fear just gets too great, and or They just love staying inside their comfort zone. And let me say this about that. If you love staying inside your comfort zone, that's fine. You have to do, as you listen and think about all this, what is best for you, and only you know what's best for you. Here's a few other qualifiers. Sometimes fear is a really good thing. You want to be fearful because it keeps you from doing something that could hurt you, like putting your hand on the stove, a hot stove. And it's, again, very subjective. We're not all afraid of the same things. So comparing is useless. Johnny isn't afraid of diving off that ledge, so I shouldn't be. You don't know the lead up that Johnny has had. Maybe he's been practicing jumping off things a lot in his life. He has a different history with it than you do. You can't compare. Also, phobias are a different story. I'm not a psychologist. I think if you have a phobia of spiders, then playing with one every day isn't necessarily the best approach, or it may be. Again, see a psychologist or a therapist if you have a phobia about something. That's usually very deep-rooted childhood stuff. But now, back to you. You're probably familiar with Eleanor Roosevelt's quote, "Do something that scares you every day." How would you feel about doing one thing that scares you in 7 weeks? Just as an aside, Eleanor didn't say that. And we hear it all the time. It turns out, I did a little checking. Most of these quotes you find online in social media, that's not exactly what people have said, but it's catchy and it fits in a little block. Actually, someone else said it. And so I looked at Quote Investigator. Mary Schmidt said it in an essay she wrote in June of 1997. She was a columnist for the Chicago Tribune, and she began her article with this statement: "Inside every adult lurks a graduation speaker dying to get out." And she continued by presenting her points in kind of a staccato way, with interspersing it with the sentence, "Do one thing every day that scares you." So it looked like this: don't worry about the future. Or worry, but know that worrying is as effective as trying to solve an algebra equation by chewing bubblegum. The real troubles in your life are apt to be things that never crossed your worried mind, the kind that blindside you at 4 p.m. on some idle Tuesday. Then she wrote, "Do one thing every day that scares you." Then she wrote, "Sing. Don't be reckless with other people's hearts. Don't put up with people who are reckless with yours. Floss." And there were more, and it became a little book, one that I bought my daughter for her graduation, titled "Wear Sunscreen." But it was incorrectly attributed to Kurt Vonnegut's graduation address he gave at MIT. Back to Eleanor. Here's what she actually said: "Fear has always seemed to me to be the worst stumbling block which anyone has to face. It is the great crippler. Looking back, it strikes me that my childhood and my early youth were one long battle against fear." So I can really resonate with Eleanor Roosevelt's comments after my childhood. And as she matured, we know this about her, that she really attempted to reduce her fears by successfully accomplishing tasks, big and little, that caused her apprehension. So to continue with the quote, you gain strength, courage, and confidence. This is Eleanor Roosevelt. You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, "I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along." The danger lies in refusing to face the fear, in not daring to come to grips with it. If you fail anywhere along the line, it will take away your confidence. You must make yourself succeed every time. And here's where they got the quote: you must do the thing you think you cannot do. End of quote. So here we are at last. We arrive at the point of the video, my video to you. Starting on October 31st, this Halloween, it's a Monday, when people dress up to scare each other, I am starting a challenge, the 7-week comfort zone challenge, to help you practice something that you have some level of fear about, or discomfort about, or anxiety about. It doesn't have to be a big, scary thing. It could be just something you resist because you feel uncomfortable. Why am I doing this? So you will gain the confidence that comes from finally doing something that you initially thought was hard to do or even impossible to do. To use Eleanor's words, so that you will get strength, courage, and confidence. Tim Ferriss, the productivity expert, has a great TED Talk where he explains how now these are big challenges, but he learned how to swim after having a real fear of it as a child because of a bad experience with a bully. He learned Japanese, went to live there, I think when he was in high school, and how to compete in the world tango championships after not knowing anything about all three. And as I said, being especially fearful about swimming. He breaks it down. He deconstructs it so he knows what's required to learn it. He finds his way in by studying carefully what he's trying to do. His TED Talk, just go to ted.org, and it's Smash Fear, Learn Anything. I think he did it in 2008. Smash Fear, Learn Anything. And really, he says that the one simple question to ask yourself is, what's the worst that could happen? He said that's all you need to do to learn anything. So learning to swim, after he did, by studying it and understanding the things he needed to do in order to learn how to swim, he said, I find the best results in life are often held back by false constructs and untested assumptions. We make assumptions all the time, particularly about things we know nothing about. Learning Japanese, he said, it's oftentimes what you do, not how you do it, that is the determining factor. And for him, the process for learning Japanese that he was taught by the people in the United States who said, yeah, this is the way it's going to be and you'll be fine, that was not right. For him, he had to do it a different way, and he learned it, and other languages. So he says, fear is your friend. Fear is an indicator. Sometimes, yes, it shows you what you shouldn't do. More often than not, it shows you exactly what you should do. And he said, the best results I've had in life is asking, what's the worst that can happen? Especially with fears you gained when you were a child. Take the analytical frameworks, the capability you have, apply them to old fears, apply them to very big dreams. So moving away from Tim Ferriss, but with that same thought, what's the worst that can happen? Join me in this challenge on October 31st. You have to sign up by the 30th. For the 7-week challenge, you will have 2 introductory emails for the first 2 weeks and some exercises to do to give you a sense, just like I was talking about the history, we're going to give you a little history of playing with this and show you that you've done it already. You've left your comfort zone before. But then you'll be asked, What do you want to do that will take you outside of your comfort zone this time? And then you will be on the road to, as our friend Eleanor said, strength, courage, and confidence. And that's what I want for you. And that to me is a lot better than getting candy. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you in the group that signs up for the Comfort Zone Challenge. It's free. You can do it on your own. You can also do it as part of a group. Thank you for joining me. Hope to see you at the next video.